So what you're gonna do is get this in here really well. I'm kind of doing it slow, huh? Kind of boring watching me do this. Just want to cover in every little bit. That looks good. And I just take it and I just get all the excess off. There we go. And then what you want to do is it needs to sit and it needs to dry. Now, it's a couple hours for it to dry, but if you don't have a couple hours, which I don't, you can actually pop this into an oven, 150 to 170, I think is what it says, for 10 to 12 minutes. And that's what I do. I actually take this and I'll pop it in the oven, and it shrinks a little bit when it dries. It shrinks down, so it's not so thick anymore. So once it comes out of the oven and the mat cools, and again, they have the instructions for this in here, you want to give it a second coat. So once this is out of the oven, dry and cool, do another coat. And then I let it dry overnight, or you can pop it back in the oven and dry it, okay? If you need it, you know, in a hurry. I just let it dry overnight. Once it's dry, again, it shrinks down a little bit and it looks like this. And this is the pattern I'm actually using. I'm not using this pattern. So we'll move that aside. And this is the pattern here that we're using. Once it's dry, then it kind of peels away very easily. You just take it and carefully peel it off. This pattern, you got to make sure you don't rip it. Let's see, it just peels out. And one way you can do it if you've got a really difficult one is you can flip it upside down and peel it that way. And again, it's really simple to peel. It just peels right out. There's no learning curve to this at all. You just want to make sure it's dry. If it's not dry, it's not going to peel out. You just have a problem with it. But see, it just peels off. Very simple, very easy. And it's flexible. So now I just need to attach this onto my cake. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to work on the chandelier beads and some of the isomalt decorations that are going to go on this cake. So I've got a couple sugar flowers. I've got a swanky sugar piece that goes, the sugar flowers go on the top tier, the 10-inch tier, and the 8-inch tier gets this. The 6 and the 8-inch tier also get the lace that I just made. I had to make 4 pieces of that to go around the 6 and the 10-inch, and you'll see me put those on in a few. But the middle tier is going to get this swanky piece here. And then I had some droplets. I want chandelier beads off this chandelier cake. I want them to hang because the cake's hanging, so I want these sugar beads hanging off it. So what I have is this droplet mold. And this I'm going to use on the bottom. This is really cool. I just, you know, hopefully he can solve his supply issue and get more of these. Otherwise, those of you that have them, I am going to show you how to use them. But if you don't have them, we are going to make some of our own beads that hang. So I'll show you how to do that. Okay, the one thing about these molds is they do, don't leave the nature of the mold, they don't really leave you a crystal clear sugar piece. Okay, so you want to torch it a little bit. So when I do the droplet, since I want to torch it, I can't actually use thread on it because it'll melt the thread, and then there'll be separate little pieces instead of on a string. So what I've got is I've got a thin piece of wire. Now they make this wire now. A lot of the cake decorating places are using it. They use it they make it in all different colors. And it's about a 26 gauge wire, which makes it nice and thin. And when I torch it, of course, the wire doesn't melt. So I can actually torch, and as long as I don't torch too much and ruin the facets of the jewel, and these are round beads, so it's not going to ruin them anyway. But you just want to put it where the thread would have normally gone, which is right, there's a little line there for it. And then line up your little magnets without moving the wire. And hopefully I didn't move that. Make sure that's all lined up. And then we are ready to melt our isomalt. Okay, so the instructions on this isomalt is to cook it for 30 seconds and then in 15-second intervals after that. So as you can see at 30, it's not quite melted yet, obviously. So now I'll do it in 15-second intervals.